It is race week. Hasn't really felt like race week. Well, it kind of has, but it also hasn't. Yeah, a bit of a different race week in some ways. I wasn't entirely sure I was actually going to be racing. I've been struggling a bit with my Achilles. Yeah, kind of trying to weigh up risk and reward, like is it worth doing it? Am I going to potentially push myself back and have a load of time off running if I try and race? With Kona as the main goal, it's quite hard trying to balance the kind of desire to go and race, because racing's fun and that's like a really good way of benchmarking kind of where I'm at, where the progress has been. But yeah, versus that, well, you know, the actual, like the A race now, post St George is Kona. Also trying to balance that, like doing everything I can to be in the best shape for that. But I think my Achilles is at a point where it's coping with load in terms of, like I did a run session yesterday, it's not reacted badly to it. So I think it should be all right for the race. I'll then probably have to adapt my training a little bit when I'm back, just to get it to a point where I can run completely pain-free on it. It is race week. It now feels like race week because I've made that decision and I'm flying tonight. So, whereas the last few days have been a real kind of up and down of should I, shouldn't I, is it the right thing to do? Out to Elsinore in Denmark. It's a race I actually did in 2019 as an age grouper, which I actually did on my road bike. So it was at the point when I was waiting for my Swift Shiv time trial bike. So I did it on a road bike with little clip-on bars and a disc wheel, which was actually really fun. It kind of took all the pressure off it. Looking forward to doing that course on a TT bike, because it's definitely 100% a TT bike course. It's kind of like rolling. It's got a couple of dead turns. It's fast and it's nice. Swims in the harbour and it's like proper wiggly. Out, back in, back out, kind of back in, kind of all around, and you're kind of, you have points where people are swimming towards you and you're swimming part, like, yeah, it gets a bit hectic in there, but it's like, it's nice water and it'll be hopefully quite a good temperature. And then the run, you do like this little loop around the castle that's on the coast. It's really pretty, it's kind of slightly traily at that point, and then you come in and you do a bit of a loop in the town, so you get like really good support in the town, generally pretty fast and flat. So like really nice course. So it's actually the European Champs, but I think given how many races there are this year and how many big races there are this year, in particular the fact we've got the first PTO Open in Canada 4 weeks time. So I think there's obviously a lot of Americans that aren't making the trip over because then they're having to go back. So that's counted quite a lot of them out. And I think some people there's kind of too much racing. So I think, you know, the start list isn't as deep as you would potentially expect for a European Champs, but still some really good ladies on the start list. So I think we've got Ash Gentle, Emma Pallant, Ellie Salthouse, Indy Lee. So like pretty good, strong competition up there. So I think for me, this race, so because I don't really know what the Achilles is going to do over a half marathon, I'm basically going for swim and bike as hard as I can and see what happens, which I've done that a few times before. It's never ended that badly, so I think, yeah, we'll try and go again. Finally feel like I've got my bike legs back a bit. It's been a bit of a struggle, to be honest, post St George and then post sub 8. I really enjoyed my time off post St George, but it definitely took me a while. Like, I didn't really feel like I got going again until literally I got to Germany and did a couple of sessions with people when I was like, oh, actually I feel all right again. Then did sub 8, and that week post sub 8, I think that's some of the biggest sort of like post-race low that I've had, of just not being around the team again, generally feeling really fatigued. Like I kind of wonder whether I might have had, I don't know, some kind of virus or something. Just, I think quite a few people had stuff post that. Like it wasn't COVID and I didn't really feel ill, I just felt drained, like really drained, not really that motivated. I was trying to do some sessions and they were all shit. So I was then having that kind of cycle of sort of depression of, oh, I'm really shit and why am I doing this? Finally this week seemed to have kind of snapped out of it. I had like a lovely couple of days in the Lake District to sort of reset, recharge. Had a couple of days with the family, that was really nice. Finally had a session yesterday where I was like, I feel like the bike legs have come back. I finally had a swim that was half decent. Hopefully we'll kind of have come round by Sunday and be ready to race. Post-race, I'm now basically just going to be rolling into my Kona block. Although it's a bit of a, so then like the next month post Elsinore, it'll be a bit more of a bike focus, partly to kind of take some of the load off my Achilles, but also I feel like I've got a lot more I need to kind of work on the bike. Ideally, by the time Kona comes, I want to be in a position where my swim's much better, but I'm also being realistic that I've been working on my swim for 2 years and it's still taking us time to get there. Talking to Will, I was like, I just need my bike to be in a better place where I can actually bridge up to the main group. Because I think in Kona in particular, that kind of advantage of being in the group in those kind of conditions is massive and like much bigger than it would be in St George. I'll be doing a bit of a bike focus. There's then like the PTO race to break it up, which that will be a bit of a, that's going to be a bit of a hit, probably more because of the travel than anything else. Like ideally I wouldn't be traveling over to Canada and back before then going back over to America in September, but the kind of like the prize money is really good and the points. So the plan is to do both PTO races. Again, I was very and ahhing about doing Dallas with how close it is to Kona, but I spoke to Will about it and we think actually he kind of framed it in the way of, you know, if you think about the kind of sessions you would be doing kind of 2.5 weeks out of an Ironman, it's not that dissimilar potentially. I mean, yes, okay, it's still a race, it's a bigger hit. I wouldn't be doing a like half marathon, well not even half, but like 18k flat out, but yeah, I still think we can make it work to make it kind of the end of my block and then kind of be tapering, basically rolling straight into my big Kona block with a bit of a detour to Canada in the middle.